News, the #1 news station in all of Tennessee. Thank you for your trust.
On the broadcast tonight, wall of water. Up to 13 million people brace for a monster storm and major flooding along the Texas Gulf Coast as Hurricane Ike comes ashore. Gas surge. As Ike lashes Texas, the price of gas shoots up. How bad will it get? How she did after Sarah Palin's first big interview, everyone's got an opinion. And connected, for young people navigating troubled waters, a lifeline online. Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. I'm Ann Curry in for Brian Williams tonight. Hurricane Ike, now officially described as potentially catastrophic, is slamming into Texas right now, hours earlier than predicted. And not just Galveston is getting hard hit. Take a look at this. The storm is cutting a dangerously wide swath, hitting as much as 400 miles of the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana. Houston, the nation's 4th largest city, is in jeopardy with channels not protected by seawalls and only low-lying portions of the city under a mandatory evacuation order. As many as 13 million people are believed to be in the hurricane zone, including our NBC News correspondents, beginning tonight with Janet Shamlian in Galveston. Janet.
And good evening. Galveston, is being pummeled by wind and water, and we are still hours away from landfall here. Much of this island is already flooded. The real unknown now is the storm surge.
Massive waves of water as Hurricane Ike churned toward Texas. In Galveston, a city being battered.
These waves are coming in so fast.
The Coast Guard rescued those who waited too long. Others will wait it out indefinitely.
I'd rather die here than out on the road.
Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff issuing the gravest of warnings.
I think this certainly falls in the category of pretty much a worst-case scenario.
And Governor Rick Perry, who's activated the National Guard, is preparing for a potential catastrophe.
I think people need to understand what we're talking about here. This isn't rising water. This is a tsunami. This is a surge, a wall of water that's 20 feet high.
All along the coast, conditions deteriorating, as my colleague Amy Robach found.
It is midday here in Galveston, and Hurricane Ike is still about 200 miles out to sea, yet we are already starting to feel and see his effects. Take a look at the Gulf. It is already overtopping this 17-foot seawall, and it's only going to get worse in the hours to come.
But how much worse?
There is a great concern from Galveston officials that this area is going to be underwater.
The whole region could be inundated. Forecasters are talking about 15 to 20-foot storm surges. More than 1 million people have evacuated in preparation for the worst storm to target Texas in 50 years.
We're going to get out before the tide comes up. Out on 33rd Street, we can get out just before the water comes up. And so we think we're safe.
With landfall closing in, the coast is bracing for the worst.
And these are tropical force winds out here right now, which are only going to get much stronger and more dangerous over the next few hours, turning into hurricane force winds. And
all right, Janet Shamlian tonight. Thank you so much, Janet. Exactly. So where is this storm now, and where is it going to strike the hardest? Weather Channel meteorologist Jim Cantori is out in it. Jim.
Yeah, and it's definitely a dangerous storm to reckon with. The eye of this thing is about 60 miles wide, which is incredible. You can almost put the city of Houston right inside this thing right now, and they're going to take some major lickings. The radar showing some of those outer bands getting ready to move on shore. This is where we will see the first round of power outages, obviously for the coast first, and then later on toward midnight into the Houston metropolitan area. And they're going to keep on going north from there. The swath brings this thing in as a strong Category 2 storm, but you can see the action that the waves are providing us behind me, and certainly as this thing continues to move to the north, some 13 million people, as you mentioned, affected by either tropical storm or hurricane force winds. A huge storm in scope, and one that we will deal with and unfortunately see the memories of for a long time. So after seeing too many people leave in Rita, perhaps not enough left for Ike. Back to you.
All right, Jim Cantori tonight. Thank you so much, Jim. Now to NBC's Don Teague, who is in the Houston suburb of Clear Lake tonight. Don.
Good evening, Ann. Houston is one of America's largest cities with some 5.5 million people, including suburbs, and tonight it's preparing for a direct hit from Ike. But instead of evacuating the entire city as they did during Hurricane Rita, officials here have ordered evacuations only for those with special needs. And in 9 zip codes where residents are threatened by storm surge from Galveston Bay or here at Clear Lake, which is just across the road, by the way, from NASA. All told, about 600,000 in Texas alone have evacuated. Many are staying in 88 shelters set up all across this state. But the vast majority of Houston's population is still here tonight, told by officials to shelter in place, hunker down, and ride out this storm. And here at Clear Lake, the water is clearly rising already. The pier you see behind me completely underwater, and the storm surge has only just begun. And
all right, Don Teague tonight. Don, thanks. In addition to risking human life as well as damaging property, Ike is also spiking gas prices. That's because the hurricane zone includes one of the nation's most important oil and gas producing regions. NBC's Kerry Sanders has details on this.
As Ike bears down on the Texas coast, the Landry family got an ugly surprise. Gas prices, $3.59 a gallon in Port Arthur, Texas.
That's just outrageous. It seemed to me like it should go a little down. I mean, they know they're going to make their money off the gas.
They call this Refinery Row. Even before there's any damage from Ike, gas prices are spiking. One station in Beaumont, Texas, locked its doors but kept its pumps on. 640 miles away in Carthage, Tennessee, a run on gas.
We're jumping in here and trying to get our gas full before the prices go up.
I think they're just price gouging because of the hurricane coming through.
And in Orlando, one gas station in a tourist area was charging $5.49 a gallon today.
Holy moly. $5.49.
In North and South Carolina, gas stations ask customers to ration their purchases, fearful supplies will run out. A concern analysts say is realistic.
Unfortunately, the Gulf Coast area is our energy breadbasket, and we have all our eggs in this basket.
Ike's forecasted path is like a bowling ball rolling straight down the alley, expected to plow through more than 700 oil rigs and platforms in the Gulf. Already 13 Texas refineries have completely shut down. That's reduced refining capacity by more than 3.5 million barrels, or about 17% of daily U.S. oil consumption.
If Hurricane Ike hits with the type of power that has the potential to do, it's going to knock our socks off in terms of the price spike at the pump over the next week.
Worst case scenario, widespread flooding. After Hurricanes Katrina and Rita in 2005, it was so bad it took some refineries 9 months to come back online. And
all right, Kerry Sanders in Beaumont, Texas tonight, and to you and all of our correspondents, stay safe and thanks. And we'll update you on the storm later in this broadcast. Now to the presidential campaign with 53 days left to go. So much of this campaign is playing out on television, not just on news programs, as with Sarah Palin's first major interview last night. The candidates are also showing up on late-night talk shows, comedy shows, and in John McCain's case today, a popular daytime program, The View. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports.
Today, with millions of women watching daytime TV, John McCain was the guest, but Governor Sarah Palin was often the topic.
The fact is, I think she's a great person. She's a great governor.
The usually safe venue of the talk show couch today reflected some of the campaign's increasingly sharp tone, like this exchange about Palin's record on earmarks, those pork barrel projects.
She also took some earmarks from me.
No, not as governor. She didn't. She vetoed. Well, look, the fact is that she was a reform governor. She sold the airplane. She fired the chef.
She sold the airplane at a loss.
Palin has reduced but not eliminated the number of Alaska's earmarks since becoming governor. She remained in Alaska today, doing more of that major TV interview after she appeared to pass the first round.
She made no major mistakes. She made few minor ones. She was on message.
One awkward moment, Palin seemed not to know a term used to describe the president's policy on preemptive war when the U.S. is threatened.
Do you agree with the Bush doctrine?
In what respect, Charlie?
Palin asserted her view.
I believe that America has to exercise all options in order to stop the terrorists who are hell-bent on destroying America and our allies.
She managed to get through the question by getting reasonably close to what the Bush doctrine is.
The McCain campaign is aggressively defending Palin. Their radar is on, looking for any slight or gender bias they perceive. In a new TV ad, McCain is accusing Obama's campaign of treating Palin with disrespect.
Dismissed her as good-looking. That backfired, so they said she was doing what she was told.
Palin is second on the ticket, but the McCain campaign appears okay with letting her top the attention for now. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Washington.
I'm Lee Cowan in Concord, New Hampshire, where for all the fury in the forecast that Barack Obama was going to turn up the heat on John McCain,
it's good to be back in New Hampshire.
He did, by quoting Abraham Lincoln.
If you don't stop lying about me, I'm going to have to start telling the truth about you.
That's the battle plan. Stick with the fundamental differences on the issues, and he hopes voters will bite. But some in the audience wondered if that was going to be enough.
When and how are you going to start fighting back?
I just have a different philosophy, and that is that I'm going to respond with the truth.
It is a two-pronged approach, to be sure. On the one hand, he's trying to remain above it all, like in this new TV ad.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message because this year, change has to be more than a slogan.
But then, this ad, released at the very same time, is filled with biting sarcasm.
1982. John McCain goes to Washington. Things have changed in the last 26 years, but McCain hasn't.
The ad goes on to make fun of John McCain for not being able to send an email, a sign the campaign says that he is wildly out of touch. But it's also a sign that gloves can come off pretty quick, even if issues remain the driving force. Lee Cowan, NBC News, Concord, New Hampshire.
All the talk you just heard about change brings us to our special series of reports, Where They Stand. Every presidential election is about change, especially one coming after 8 years and an unpopular president. Barack Obama has built a campaign on the promise of change, and John McCain is now sending that same message. But what do they mean? And what does it mean for our country? Here's NBC's Mike Taibbi.
The word is used incessantly by both candidates now.
Change is coming, and real change is coming.
We've been talking about change when we were up in the polls and when we were down in the polls.
The word change itself a strategy as much as a stated goal.
But you have to wonder, when polls say 2 out of 3 Americans believe we're on the wrong track, when we'll hear more details beneath the campaign clutter about what two very different candidates mean when they say change.
Right. Presidential historian Michael Beschloss says those details will emerge because both the public and the candidates want them out there.
That was exactly what the founders wanted. They would have loved to see this campaign between two candidates with extremely different views.
Republican John McCain says he'll buck his own party if necessary.
We need to change the way government does almost everything.
And promises to fight corruption, end earmarks and pork barrel spending, and greatly expand oil and gas drilling. Obama's change strategy, middle-class tax cuts, expanded health care, and ending the Iraq War. He says it's a bit late for his opponent to try and claim the change mantle that he's embraced all along.
You can't just reinvent yourself. The American people aren't stupid.
No, they're not, Beschloss says. And at those junctures in American history, when an overwhelming hunger for change was met by a candidate with the rhetorical and political skills to really make it happen, the voters chose Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, JFK, Ronald Reagan.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
All agents of profound change who never campaigned on that word.
When there's a crisis time like this one, usually the American people get it.
But to get it this time, Beschloss says, voters will probably have to wait until the candidates' debates.
Where they have to talk about serious issues, they can't evade them.
The voters have already said what they want, a change from the status quo, and now they have only to decide who they believe can deliver it. Mike Taibbi, NBC News, New York.
And when Nightly News continues on this Friday evening, an astonishing number of total strangers reaching out to one young person in need. And later, how Russia, our post-Cold War friend, has suddenly become a worrisome hotspot.
Talk about a wake-up call. I had a heart attack at 57.
My doctor told me I should have been doing more for my high cholesterol. What was I thinking? But now, I trust my heart to Lipitor.
When diet and exercise are not enough, adding Lipitor may help. Unlike some other cholesterol-lowering medications, Lipitor is FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain kinds of heart surgeries if you have several common risk factors or heart disease. Lipitor has been extensively studied with over 16 years of research. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. This may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect.
I learned the hard way, but you may be able to do something.
Have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about your risk and about Lipitor.
So you're looking to lower your cholesterol. Well, you're not alone, because millions of Americans are. So Cheerios gave away 1 million bowls of cereal. Why? Because Cheerios can help lower your cholesterol 4% in 6 weeks. Not long at all. Just 6 weeks. So join the challenge and get $6 in coupons at CheeriosChallenge.com.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain,
for purple mountain majesties,
above the fruited plain.
On June 1st, 2009, new document requirements will make getting home from Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean, by land or sea, more efficient.
Now isn't that beautiful, America?
Learn more about the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative at getyouhome.gov.
Making a difference. Brought to you by GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines, tomorrow's miracles.
Now, our Friday Making a Difference report. Growing up can be tough, and too many young people are struggling with depression, addiction, even thoughts of suicide. And perhaps the biggest obstacle, the feeling of being in it all alone. NBC's Savannah Guthrie has a story of one young man who found a way to break through that isolation by making a connection online.
And I asked what she'd say if her story had an audience.
The story starts with a story.
Renee is 19. When I meet her, cocaine is fresh in her system. She hasn't slept in 36 hours.
2 years ago, Renee Yohe was addicted to drugs and was cutting herself, the scars still visible beneath her colorful tattoos. With open wounds on her arms, no treatment facility would accept her.
I was too great a risk. They didn't think that, they didn't even know if I would make it through the detox.
So for 5 days until she could get treatment, Jamie Twarkowski and a group of friends kept Renee sober and safe.
Take a broken girl, treat her like a famous princess. Tell her something true when all she's known are lies.
Jamie wrote a 2-page story about Renee and posted it on the social networking site MySpace. Remembering her scars, he called it "To Write Love on Her Arms" and printed the unusual slogan on T-shirts to raise money for her treatment. Then something unexpected happened. Thousands of young adults found the page and wrote about their own struggles with depression and isolation, and an online community was born. The site now has more than 200,000 members.
We had kind of stumbled upon a conversation that felt really significant, and maybe one that represented people everywhere.
The group posts blogs, answers thousands of emails, and connects members to suicide, depression, and drug treatment centers. Experts say the site works because it meets young people where they are, online.
The most important thing about To Write Love on Our Arms, being able to reach out to this particular community, is there may be no other way to reach these young people.
The group has also sought out young adults beyond the online world, telling Renee's story at rock concerts and finding it resonates.
This idea that maybe we're more loved than we'll ever know. Maybe we're part of a bigger story, that we're part of a redemption story and a love story.
Even if it helped one person, then it was worth everything to me.
One person's story of recovery that has helped many more. Savannah Guthrie, NBC News, Washington.
And later we'll update the hurricane, and when we come back, our new series, Hotspots.
I have high blood pressure, and I was surprised to learn that it may have led to my erectile dysfunction. That's when my doctor told me about Levitra.
Certain medical conditions, including high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, can decrease blood flow, which may lead to ED.
That was news to me. And my doctor told me Levitra could help.
Levitra works by increasing blood flow to help treat ED.
Levitra works for me. Maybe it can work for you.
Ask your doctor if you are healthy enough for sexual activity. If you have heart problems, are on alpha blocker therapy, or have uncontrolled high blood pressure, talk to your doctor before taking Levitra. Do not take Levitra if you take nitrates for chest pains, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, and stuffy or runny nose. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience an erection lasting longer than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss of vision or hearing, stop taking Levitra and call your doctor right away. Ask your doctor if Levitra is right for you.
I'm Mark Goldston, Chairman and CEO of Net Zero. All internet providers take you to the same internet, so why pay more to get there? Net Zero is only $9.95 a month, and we give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or visit netzero.com.
If you've had a heart attack caused by a completely blocked artery, another heart attack could be lurking, waiting to strike. A heart attack caused by a clot, one that could be fatal. But Plavix helps save lives. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, goes beyond what other heart medicines do alone to provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke and even death by helping to keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots. Ask your doctor about Plavix, protection that helps save lives.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some other medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. So tell me before planning surgery. And always talk to me before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. If you develop fever, unexplained weakness, or confusion, tell me promptly, as these may be signs of a rare but potentially life-threatening condition called TTP, which has been reported rarely, sometimes in less than 2 weeks after starting therapy. Other rare but serious side effects may occur.
If you take Plavix with other heart medicines, continuing to do so will help increase your protection against a future heart attack or stroke beyond your other heart medicines alone. You may be feeling better, but your risk never goes away. Help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
Sunday, exclusive, McCain versus Obama with Rudy Giuliani and Chuck Schumer. The strategy, the issues, and the debate. Only on Meet the Press.
We're back now with more on the race for the White House. No matter who wins, Obama or McCain, a world of troubles awaits the next president. U.S. relations with Russia, for example, are strained after that country's recent fight with Georgia. The stakes are high and the risks are real, as NBC's Jim Maceda reports now from Moscow in our series, Hotspots.
From day one, no hotspot will be more critical for the next U.S. president than the new defiant Russia, now flying its strategic bombers to bases in Venezuela, drawing closer to America's antagonist, Hugo Chavez. This Russia, rich with oil, is full of its victory last month over Georgia, a U.S. ally.
The Russians believe that they can flex their muscles, they can make demands. And they perceive the European Union and America to lack the willpower to resist them.
What happened? An angry Russia says it's through with bowing to Washington's agenda, the basing of NATO missiles near its border, or encouraging ex-Soviet states like Georgia and Ukraine to join NATO, its former enemy. This Cold War mentality dominates the thinking of some American diplomats. It's a shame, Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin said recently. The West, meanwhile, sees Russia's invasion of Georgia as part of an ominous land grab. Last week, Vice President Dick Cheney called Russia's attack an act of brute force.
The international community is united in deploring Russia's military action and condemning its unilateral efforts to alter by force of arms Georgia's internationally recognized boundaries.
But the Kremlin and most Russians see a very different picture. From their view, it's the West, especially the Bush administration, who are to blame, answering every handshake offered up by Russia over the past decade or more with, they say, a slap in the face. Putin was personally instrumental after 9/11 in opening Central Asia to U.S. bases for the war in Afghanistan. But instead of respect from America, say Russian analysts, he got pro-Western revolts, first in Georgia, then in Ukraine, and in August, Georgia's attack on South Ossetia, the last straw. Putin accused the U.S. government of orchestrating them all.
Americans would say, you've got a complex. you've got an inferiority complex. It's not, you perceive it completely wrongly, and this problem will go away.
But it never did, and relations only soured.
I think it was a very painful divorce after a very unhappy marriage.
Now some are calling it a new Cold War.
A redefined Cold War, but nonetheless a state of hostility between what the West wants to achieve and what Russia wants to achieve.
Leaving the new U.S. president to face an era of chilled relations, or worse, more confrontation, in a standoff that was supposed to be history. Jim Maceda, NBC News, Moscow.
And we'll be back with the latest news on Hurricane Ike now slamming the Texas coastline.
Meet Erica. Grand Poobah of pasta. Candy. Chancellor of cheese. Connoisseur of cold. Chili. She keeps her ingredients in Glad bags, the easy way to help keep food fresh and handy. And now Glad bags are even easier to use. They're designed to grip with new taller tabs and more ridges. Effortless. Go easy. Get Glad.
8 million cars in the world use natural gas instead of gasoline, but only 150,000 in America. We need to run our cars on natural gas as a bridge to electric and fuel cells and to break our addiction to foreign oil. And we can start today.
Constipation, bloating, gas, diarrhea. People, is your colon sending you a message? Now there's new Philips Colon Health with probiotics. It helps naturally restore the balance in your digestive system, so you can avoid those very unpleasant symptoms with new Philips Colon Health.
Take away the celebrity, the thrilling words. What's left? Old ideas masquerading as change. Obama and his liberal allies promise higher taxes on your income, life savings, your electric bill. They oppose offshore drilling. It's not change. It's more of the same. Obama and his liberal allies, not ready to lead.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Talk about a wake-up call. I had a heart attack at 57. My doctor told me I should have been doing more for my high cholesterol. What was I thinking? But now, I trust my heart to Lipitor.
When diet and exercise are not enough, adding Lipitor may help. Unlike some other cholesterol-lowering medications, Lipitor is FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain kinds of heart surgeries if you have several common risk factors or heart disease. Lipitor has been extensively studied with over 16 years of research. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. This may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect.
I learned the hard way, but you may be able to do something.
Have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about your risk and about Lipitor.
Thank you for making Channel 4 News #1. And when we say #1, we really mean it. Channel 4 News is seen in more homes in Tennessee than any other television station. Channel 4 News, the #1 news station in all of Tennessee. Thank you for your trust.
Back now to this dangerous storm named Ike with an estimated 13 million people in its path. NBC's Don Teague now rejoins us. Don, I understand you're starting to hear about power outages.
We have already, Ann, in North Houston, reports of power outages. We don't know how widespread those are at this point, but of course the government has estimated that some 5 million people along the Gulf Coast could be without power before all is said and done. For the most part, that will be wind related. The big fear, though, is from the water. You can see that behind me. It is rising here on Clear Lake, on Galveston Bay, and of course along the Gulf. They're expecting a storm surge that could approach 20 feet or more. That would be disastrous. Everyone's hoping that doesn't happen, Ann.
All right, Don Teague tonight. Don, thanks so much for your reporting, and that is our broadcast for this Friday evening. We'll be here keeping an eye on Hurricane Ike, and NBC News and MSNBC on cable and the internet will have the latest information all evening and also tomorrow morning. Stay safe, everybody. Brian Williams will be back on Monday. I'm Ann Curry. And for all of us here at NBC News, thank you and good night.
This is Channel 4 News, working for you.
Do I think $1.60 at one time's a gouge? Yes. Is there anything that can be done about it?
Not really. It was shell shock to me.
The price of gas changing by the minute. It has many people confused and frustrated. Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6.
Well, Hurricane Ike has not hit the Texas coast yet, but already we are feeling the effects here in Tennessee. We're being told not to panic, but it's difficult when gas prices at some stores are a quarter or more higher than they were just this morning. It's $5.29 a gallon in Winchester. Several mid-state gas stations have run out of gas, but we're told that is only temporary, and others are limiting the number of gallons you can buy. Channel 4's Larry Flowers explains why.
At this Kangaroo gas station on Amelville Road in Smyrna, this morning you could find some of the cheapest gas in